All right, what's up, everybody? Yeah, I just had to play a little clip. That's our new thing now. We got to do the pre-show playing a little bit of a clip of, whatever. WTF, welcome to Funkatopia. And
WTF.
I'm your host, Mr. Christopher, and the long missing, and now back, Mr. Jeff Paige in the house. Y'all know you missed it.
It was witness protection. You know, I had to lay low for a minute or two, you know, just until the trial.
Because I'm beautiful.
Yeah, let me know where you guys are at. Say hello and let me know where you're coming in from and whatever. And don't let that video sway you one way or the other as far as, we know where this Prince versus Michael Jackson thing is going to go. Just for those who are tuning in, this is a pre-show. We just kind of come in here, just say hello to everybody, talk about some news and whatnot. And then we kind of break for like 15 seconds and then go into the actual show. And so, so there's that.
Yeah. Wow. Hello from Denver. I don't recall seeing Denver before.
Oh yeah, man. There's all kinds of folks. Yeah, man. There's lots of folks out there. Kim in New York there. We got Kim in New York. We got a little Tampa action with Jeremy in the house. Susan's in here from Canada. It's like me saying, it's Chris from the United States.
I'm here.
Oh, yeah, Canada. That's right next to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
All right, let's cover some of the news because we got like 9 minutes before we got a break and then go into the actual show. So I may actually kind of put some of this news into the actual show. Tonight's going to be a free-for-all. We're going to talk about just anything. Yeah, I talked about the Prince versus Michael Jackson thing. We'll get into that later, but it's just kind of just to chill. I know that I did a post like us last week and said, man, it's just a lot. I need to take it easy. And here I am yet another week doing another show. And it's like one of these things where, a rolling stone gathers no moss. I kind of feel like once you get to a certain point and you're just kind of rolling and it's just like, you kind of feel like if you stop, it's going to come unraveled or something's going to happen. And
yeah, that's the awesome illusion and the curse of the illusion. That's what it is, because no one's going to go anywhere and everybody understands, but I definitely get it. That's why I'm here. I can be like, hey, calm down.
Yeah. And I'm all about that. I'm totally all about that. But welcome to the pre-show. We will start the show at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 8 minutes from right now. Listen, I wanted to tell you guys that I did actually send out all of the Patreon gifts for if you're a Patreon supporter in the first 3 levels. The top 3 levels, I sent out gifts to you. And so all of you, the board of directors, they actually went out first. There was about 7 of you board of directors that did not get sent out until Friday. I think it was Friday or Saturday. So expect your gifts to come, and just random things. It's not anything promised or anything. It's just
underwear, stuff like that.
Whatever. But however, the 2 levels, I did get a huge package, a huge box from the USPS that returned every single one of the things that I sent out to the 2 level supporters. Why is this lighting doing this weird thing? Because apparently I put it as media mail because there is, as you can see, there's like something extra in there. And I guess the post office saw that there was something extra in there and said, hey, this is not media mail. And so before they sent it, they took everything from the post office that I had dropped off and put it into a bucket and said, you need to redo this. So I've got to redo this. So your gifts are coming. They're already packaged, but now I've got to send it as regular first class mail. And it's just a freaking.
That's ridiculous.
It is. It's
just a ridiculous.
I mean, it is a book of sorts. And, but anyways, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's coming.
Yeah. Just know it's coming. Patience. It'll be there.
Yeah. It's coming. This has nothing to do with anything, but I happened to see this little 30-second video and I saw it and I said, what the heck is happening here? For those that don't know, well, you're not going to know because I'll have to tell you, but Mark Hamill, obviously known for his role in Star Wars as Luke Skywalker, happened to be someplace where they obviously knew he was going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this video clip, but it's freaking insane. And this is a little 30-second clip of what this man has to go through whenever he makes an appearance somewhere, of people trying to get his autograph on things. And just look at this clip.
Mark, my photo's right here. What's the dog? Gotta go. Mark. My photo. Mark, please. Mark, please.
Yo, can you give it just a mark real quick?
My photo. Mark, please. Mark, please. Mark, please.
No, this thing.
On the bottom, Mark.
To Angel. You can make it to Angel. To Angel. To Angel. To Angel. Please.
Stop.
Right here.
The photo. The Yoda photo. Mark. Thank you. Mine smudged, Mark. Mine smudged. Oh, I just saw mine smudged.
Mark. Could you get this? Oh, shit. Watch out. Don't hurt the man.
Are you okay, Mark?
Hey, who hurt him? Who did that?
What
the guy's like, I just
oh my God, it's like people freaking out. It is just, I mean, they were just piling on this man. I have not seen anything like that in just, I mean, this is kind of crazy. I had to make
he should have used the force.
I don't know what was going on, but wow, that was insane. I guess somebody had jammed like a cardboard, something was very hard in the corner of it, hit him in the side of the head or something. Everybody just jamming stuff in there. Was like, oh my God, that's just
poor Mark.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything. I had a couple of pieces in here in the news section that have nothing to do with anything. And here is the next thing that I had that had nothing to do with anything, but I saw this on Twitter. I can't remember who posted it. I want to say, anyways, it looks like what we're looking at is the potential of a Taxi reunion that may be happening here.
And
I don't know. I can't remember which cast member posted this, but
what's really crazy about this is about 2 weeks ago, I went back and said, you know what? I want to watch that again. And I turned it on.
That is just, it is so crazy to think. I mean, I used to watch Taxi all the time. I loved it. I mean, I just loved the show, and Tony Danza and everything. But one scene I remember is I can't even talk about it. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Judd Hirsch that reached in and grabbed what's his name?
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito grabbed him and pulled him through the window because he normally runs things from inside that window. And I don't remember what scene it was or why he was yanking him through it, but he like reached in and grabbed him and pulled him out. And his little Danny DeVito self came out. It was just the funniest thing I'd ever seen. It was like yanking a puppet. It was just the funniest thing that I ever seen. But the fact that this is a possibility, the only thing missing out of here, obviously, is a Danny DeVito appearance. But I mean, I can't imagine him not doing it. He's doing Subway or not Subway, what Jersey Mike sub shows right now. So anyways, I'm excited about that. I think it's very, very cool. Again, nothing about anything.
Hey, I got something I can throw out.
Sure.
For those of you that have been paying attention, and maybe you missed the last thing, but Ed Sheeran is no longer liable. He's not liable for copyright infringement for over Marvin Gaye thing. So they let that one go, and he can stay with music. He doesn't have to quit, as he put it in his thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people are very, very happy. Here's some other news that Trump was actually charged with sexual assault.
Yes.
Officially charged with sexual assault, not rape, but a sexual assault. So a lot of people are happy about that, thinking that's going to be his downturn.
Yeah.
Probably won't be. The man is like a cockroach. He seems, no matter what comes his way, he seems to come out the other side. It's like, what is going on? Is this like he's like indestructible or something? It's like, I don't understand what's happening. All right, couple more.
I can still make it happen. It's okay.
It's okay. We're gonna do fine. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Everyone is great.
It's great. No touching, no touchy. So we're about to hit 46,000 followers on Facebook. And I happened to see so I wanted to give a big, huge thank you to all of our fans and whatnot. Thank you so much for all of your followers. It's fantastic. But I happened to see somebody made a comment, another place happened to make a comment about I can't invite people to like my page because I don't boost my posts, and I don't boost my post or pay for followers or something like that.
What?
I don't know what the insinuation was.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but just so we're clear.
Can you do that on Facebook? I don't pay for followers in Facebook.
Well, obviously you probably can.
Actually,
you can.
I'll pay a couple of you guys if you want to come.
But you can actually boost posts. But just to be clear, every single bit of organic growth that Funkatopia has had on Facebook over the past years now has never done a boosted post. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
I think we did do boosted posts like way back years ago. But every single bit of organic growth that you guys have seen has been organic growth. We have not paid for any boosted posts. And just so you're clear, if you do have a Facebook page, you don't have to boost post,
right,
or pay followers in order to invite people to your page.
Exactly.
It's actually a very, very simple process to invite people to your page that engage with your post, that do not like your page. It's actually really simple. You know, that little number that says how many people engaged, you can click on that. And if they haven't engaged with your post, it will say invite, and you click it.
It's not that complicated.
You don't have to pay for it. It's not anything extra.
I mean, I know it feels a little high tech out there, but you can do it.
Oh my God. It was just kind of like, oh, well, that probably explains.
If you're familiar, Austin City Limits Festival in October, some of the lineup has come through. So there's probably more to come, but Kendrick Lamar, the Foo Fighters,
oh my God,
Mumford & Sons, and Shania Twain are some of the headliners for the Austin City Limits Festival. So that's something that's pretty special. That should be cool.
Yeah. I also want to do that jam cruise that I posted on Facebook. That lineup is insane. It's got everybody on it from the funk world in there. I mean, not like the classics, like I think Parliament Funkadelic may be on it, but there's like a bunch of them, like Dumpster Funk and Lettuce and all those. It's pretty insane. But all right, we got to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and I'll talk about the rest of the news, and then we'll go into the free for all show. And so give me just 1 second, give us just a minute, and then we'll break into the show. But you got to do this for easy editing. Give us just 10 seconds. All right. WTF? Welcome to Funkatopia, y'all.
What's happening?
And Jeff Paige is back. I am your host, Mr. Christopher, and Jeff Paige is back.
I like that one. I'll take that. You beat me to it. I'll take it though.
Yeah, we are doing a free-for-all. No agenda. Actually, if you looked at the notes, it seems like there's an agenda, but there's not. It's just kind of, everything has to have guardrails, so we kind of a little bit know what to talk about, just to kind of have a little bit of topicality in the mix. I know that one of the things that we said right out of the gate was that one of the topics is Prince versus Michael Jackson. Obviously, that kind of got people going and made some people upset. I get it, but it's not really a versus as much as it is just a comparison and just kind of a reflection on both artists and just talking about it. Really, basically, there have been some comparisons, and I know people get really upset. Man, Michael Jackson fans get insanely upset. I've been on calls on Clubhouse where this was a topic, and there was guy, I don't remember what Clubhouse it was, but there was some guy that was like yelling at the top of his lungs, "There is no competition. Michael Jackson is the best that's ever existed. End of story. We're done here." It's like,
yeah,
not really a very good argument, but
there are some Elvis fans that would say the same thing. James Brown. There's a whole bunch of others that say the same thing. Both of them have greats. That's all to it. They have songs that have moved me, and both of them have songs that haven't moved me. So it's just what it is.
So we are going to talk about that, just so we're clear. We are going to talk about that, but it's not going to be filled with vitriol and hate and anger and all that stuff. It's going to be very, very cool, just chilled, and but we are going to have a conversation because that topic has come up.
Both of them make me sick. I'm sorry, they just anger me now.
For those who listen to the Funked Up app, for those who don't know, I don't know how you don't know this, but we have a Funked Up app. You can go onto the Apple Store or you can go to Google Play and you can download the app called Funked Up, FUNKEDUP, and it is a free app that features not one but two radio stations. And I didn't even change my number. I said not one but two,
but two,
not one but one. Anyways. Oh, sugar. You know what I forgot to do? Hold on a second. I forgot to start this for the Funked Up app people.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I forgot to start you guys on the Funked Up app. My bad. So if you're watching video.
It's so left out.
Yeah, you feel left out. Welcome to the Funkatopia radio show, Funkatopia Live, WTF. I'm your host, Mr. Christopher, and Jeff Paige is back. And sorry for you guys who got a little bit of a delay if you're listening on the Funked Up app. We do have a Funked Up app. And it has two radio stations. One radio station is the original, the OG, which is 24/7 funk music, which plays a lot of Prince, but it does also have a lot of funk music too. A lot of the good stuff, original stuff, everything from new and old. James Brown, Parliament Funkadelic, Ohio Players, and even current stuff, from Lettuce and Monophonics and new master sounds and all that stuff. So if you like funk music, it's called the Funked Up app, and you can actually download it and enjoy it. And I'm going to make some adjustments. Download it and enjoy it. It's a great app. And also another radio station called Purple Yoda Radio, which is 24/7 Prince, and it's all stuff. So it's not just him, but it's also his. I guess I don't like using the word proteges, but it has a lot of princely type artists and. It's 20%, and both radio stations are ASCAP licensed. So there's that. That all being said, I hope you guys will download it and enjoy it. But one of the things I've been doing recently on this radio station that we have is that I've been making adjustments to the algorithm to kind of mix it up a little bit more. Because there right now currently, I cannot get this camera to be right. Right now, currently, there are three folders. There is a high rotation, which is going to be like all of your hits across the years or whatever. A standard rotation, which is maybe stuff that's like the deeper tracks that are on the albums of whatnot. We're talking about the Purple Yoda radio. And then we also have the lesser rotation, which is obviously stuff that's really, really deep cuts. And it's just questionable whether or not we should be playing them at all. And the problem is that I've been messing with this algorithm, and it seems to be in this rotation where it's like it's playing a really good wide variety of songs, but it seems like there's some songs I'm just not hearing anymore. So I'm going to be making adjustments tomorrow, and I'm going to be taking all the songs that are in there, and I'm going to put them in one folder.
Yes.
I'm just going to put them all in just one folder and just let it go crazy. Just let it pick whatever it wants to pick. And let's just see what happens. I think it'll be a good. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be something interesting. You're going to end up hearing songs that you were like, what's this? So there's that. I mean, you just never know.
Why not?
Music. And on top of that, I think I have like about at least a couple dozen more new tracks that I have found that are better versions of these lesser known songs that are like slightly different. And there's some really, really cool stuff. So there's going to be some changes happening tomorrow. Expect it. Just tune in and just keep enjoying it. It's, I mean, still a great radio show. So
yeah, sweet. Stay tuned.
That was supposed to be in the news section, and I kind of moved it to here.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It's a free for all.
Yeah. So we're going to really I'm not going to talk about this, Nick, because everybody's like, still talking about the celebration. But, we always got to kind of do these little teeny updates and whatnot. But 29 days to the celebration, 29 days. And VIP tickets for this event, this is June 7th through 11th, June 7th, right? 7th, 8th, 9th. Yeah, June 7th through 11th. VIP tickets are completely sold out. General admission, still good. You can still go. They've kind of been releasing little teeny itty bitty details that is interesting. I'm going to actually move this up because there's a couple of things that I think are relevant to this particular issue here. First thing is that what we found out is that they have moved not moved. They are including the shoe exhibition, which was called, what was it called? The Beautiful
Collection something. I
called it, the shoe thing.
Yeah.
The shoe thingamajigger. That shoe exhibition, they're moving as part of this. So I guess it's still there at Paisley Park is basically what it is. And so if you have not seen this amazing
it is impressive
of shoes, it's pretty insane. I was like, man, this dude has a lot of shoes. And
strong shoes too.
I didn't realize how small his shoes were too. He's a small shoe. Was it men's 7 or a men's 8?
If you walk on your hands, they'll fit you.
He's small feet.
That's all I'm saying.
And stacks. So that's actually included. And what I'm really hoping for more than anything is that today, what had actually happened is the Londell did a tweet and indicated that he was going to Paisley Park to meet the governor. And we find out today that Governor Tim Walz, I think is how you pronounce his name, signed a bill making that section of Highway 5, changing it to the Prince Rogers Nelson Highway. And
That's
so
awesome.
It is a long 7-mile stretch that is going to be renamed that. And I'm hoping, and he just signed the bill today, and he did it in front of Paisley Park. Here's some pictures of him actually signing the bill into, I guess, law. I am a bill.
I wonder if the Schoolhouse Rock guy was there. I just picture him.
A bill here on Capitol Hill.
Well, there's on.
I don't know if I would know. If it wasn't for Schoolhouse Rock, I would not know the preamble of the Constitution. That's just the reality. I mean, I wouldn't. The melody is still in my head. We the people, in order to form a perfect union.
That's right.
It's just, it doesn't even make any sense.
I know nothing about trains. I know nothing about and, but, and or. I wouldn't be able to speak to people. I would have no adjectives. It'd be a rap.
It's yeah,
Verbs, get out of here.
yeah, whatevs.
We
So
know verbs.
he signed the bill. So that bill is that you can see the cartoon in your head. He's not sitting all lonely on the steps of Capitol Hill. He got signed. And so hopefully what's going to happen is that we are going to actually go there when we get there in June, and Google Maps will have updated with the name of the street, because it will be really, really cool to be driving down with Google Maps going and be like, turn right on Prince Rogers Nelson Highway. That would be badass. So I'm hoping that this will happen.
I'm sorry, man. This is good. Someone on Twitter said they missed an obvious opportunity to refer to it as the highway formerly known as 5.
Oh
awesome.
my gosh. Olga Hernandez is putting up, I'm not going to share this URL, but you're sharing a GoFundMe URL that for Prince Rogers Nelson Memorial Highway signage. I think that's, once this is signed into a bill, this is paid for by the state. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about
I
that.
don't know if it's necessary for you to donate for the sign, because this becomes a state thing where the state pays for it, because
Now it's a law.
now it's a law. I don't know that you have to. Anyways, maybe. I don't know. You could be right. It could be something that, I don't know. It could be something that gets stuck in place. I don't know.
Hey, we the people can participate. Add to it. I don't know.
I mean, in order to form we're perfect union, we can establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility. Speaking of which, here's something that people have got, y'all missed that. If you didn't miss it, you should have laughed.
Right. you missed an opportunity to laugh. That's what you missed.
Anyways, here's something interesting. And this is a talk, since we're still on the celebration topic, I'm trying to keep all this stuff together. A lot of people did not notice this, but I guess it was a few days ago, maybe it was 4 days ago, Paisley Park had done, you remember the ad that they did where they popped up the Paisley Park Instagram page, and it had the image, and then it slid over and it showed the comments, and comments were like, why would we pay for going to a celebration when we don't even know what the lineup is, and blah, blah, blah. It was like they used those same graphics.
Yeah.
And you'd rather have new music. And it's like they reused the graphics from that image, from that ad, and they reposted it. And they said, hey, 31 days left to celebration. And most people didn't pay attention because it looked like, if you didn't have the sound on, it looked like it was the same exact ad. And it was the same exact ad, except all of a sudden, this music, this unidentified music, now had vocals to it. And of course, welcome to Funkatopia, WTF. We'll share it with you right now because I think a lot of people miss this. So let's take a listen.
Like father teaches, like son do. With each generation, the past improved. Wealthy, wise, and stronger still. No generation taken.
That's the only clip that they played. So if you didn't hear it, the lyrics are dig me now. Like father teaches, like son too. I'm assuming he's talking about God and Christ. But with each generation, the past improved. Wealthy, wise, and stronger still. No generation taken. It sounds like it says takes, but then it ends. Now that was it was crazy. Just because of the fact that some of you guys may have missed it, I'm going to play it one more time because many of you didn't see this coming, and it's a very, very short video. So enjoy this and expect it to come out. Remember, the lyrics are like father teaches, like son too. With each generation, the past improved. Wealthy, Wise, and Stronger Still, No Generation, and then it fades out. Sounds like it says Takes, but I'll let you guys listen to it one more time. Big listen. Here we go.
Like father teaches, like son do. With each generation, the past improved. Wealthy, wise, and stronger still. No generation take.
Yeah, so that's like surprise.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I tried to see if there was a song called Generation because he says the word generation twice. I don't know, and I couldn't really find anything there. So I don't know. I did, and I have not gone to check to see, but I did send an email to friends that are in the know and said, do you know what that song is? Just so maybe we can kind of take a look to see what that is. But anyways, all that being said, they are planning on playing some unreleased music, Prince. However, it was first said that only the VIP people were going to be able to hear this unreleased music. Of course, that kind of ticked a lot of people off. Not only the people that are general admission, because the general admission folks are like, I just paid $600 after fees just to walk in the door. That doesn't include my ticket there. That doesn't include my car rental. That doesn't include my hotel. That doesn't include the food that I'm going to have to do. So I'm looking at about $1,500 probably way more than that. I'm looking at about $1,500 plus in order to be at this event. And you're telling me that I'm not going to be able to get to hear any unreleased music. I cannot say honestly that I blame you.
Right.
Now, although I did opt for VIP this year, I normally don't. I normally go GA. This is the first time I've ever done it. And just so we're clear, and I've said this before in previous broadcasts, I've never been given anything from Paisley Park or the Prince Estate or anything. Not a sticker, not a shirt, not admission to anything, not a free pass, not a media pass, nothing. I've asked, it just doesn't happen. So it doesn't matter. I paid. But I can understand that if you pay for general admission, you should get that. You should be able to hear something. Now, I know they are going to be hearing unreleased Prince concerts in their entirety a couple days in a row. So there's that. But I think the VIP people are actually getting a little bit more from the unreleased side of things. And if that's a sampling, well, I don't know. It's just
I can't imagine that being the sample for just VIP if they've already now dropped a hint of it. That would be that's not a nice tease, man. That's like not gonna shoot me in.
It sounds like some kind of haggardly put together remix of something.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a lot more
that
to
is
it.
Not Prince quality, Prince production type of stuff. So
right. That's true.
That's just not his thing. Anyways, that all being said, let's stop talking about the celebration because I know we've been talking about the celebration a lot. Well, I've been talking about the celebration a lot. You've been gone for a couple of weeks, but that didn't stop me from yapping my yammer. So all that being said, we are moving. One thing that we do know is going to be happening in June, starting, I think, June 1st is some of the things I'm hearing. I'm hearing June 7th on some of these things are the reissuing of a bunch of vinyl. Truth is coming out. We've heard Love Sexy is coming out. We've heard For You is coming out. We've heard all these. There's like a big set of vinyl that's coming out. We also did physically see pictures of the Love Symbol album and Diamonds and Pearls that we physically saw.
Right.
We saw the stickers. We saw everything. Unless this was like a elaborate hoax, we saw all this stuff. So I think there's going to be a huge wave of releases, vinyl releases, re-releases of these albums. And I doubt they're going to include anything special. A lot of these reissues are popping up on UK record stores for pre-order. I haven't seen them officially pop up on any record stores here in the States yet, but UK is like, screw y'all, we're putting it up there now.
Where we're going.
We're on the way. Don't look back. Close your eyes. What's Biden going to do? So anyways, but somebody made a really, really good point that if they are going to release a super deluxe edition of another album, I know there was a lot of chatter about Graffiti Bridge. There was some, Love Sexy. There was also some chatter about possibly Parade. There's been chatter about a bunch of different things. But I got to say, and this made a point on Twitter regarding this, I really think the next super deluxe edition that they do needs to be an album from the 90s.
Yeah.
Every SDE that they've done so far has been, not everyone, because we had Welcome to America. So that was, we had Welcome to America. So that's not totally true.
That's
but
true.
It is like we are losing, oh yeah, Batman too. Thank you, Samantha. We need one from the 90s. I think it maybe has to be the Love Symbol album, or needs to be Diamonds and Pearls. Obviously, the one of them. Now we've had this discussion before where, well, why aren't they doing it? Well, they're not going to release something that they're not going to make money on. They're not going to go through all the process of putting together these really intricate and very involved super deluxe editions if nobody's going to buy it. So obviously, they start with the big ones. They're going to do the Sign of the Times. They're going to do Purple Rain. They're going to do all those. I get that. In the 1999s.
Right.
But Diamonds and Pearls and Love Symbol albums sold a lot of albums. And I think
really did.
There's so much, you think a lot of people are like, oh, well, the 80s were his magical time when he wrote like tons of stuff. And you would be really surprised how much material he wrote that is unreleased, that is not out there in the ether. Like with the 80s, I think a lot of that stuff kind of leaked out in little pieces and forms. I think, I'm going to be honest, out of all the bootlegs that are out there of unreleased material, and I've got a lot of them, the one that shocked me the most was Neurotic Lover's Bedroom. And that was done before, I want to say it was done before For You. I want to say it was 1976 or something like that. And it was just one of these songs that was just funky and weird and just, it was like, man, this is a really good track. This is pretty, if you guys want to hear it, check it out. You can go to YouTube and go to search for Neurotic Lover's Bedroom. You'll find it. And it is, that was probably the only track that really, really surprised me. That was like, wow, this kind of quality of stuff is in there. Who knows what's back there, every now and then you have those songs where it's like you hear it and you're like, oh, that's an example of what's back there. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I think the next SDE should probably be the 90s. I would, I think that's a good idea.
Right.
I think there's enough audience for it to warrant it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I can see that.
What was I going to say next? Well, anyways, that was just my little piece. All right. Tomorrow on May 10th, it is the 35th anniversary of Love Sexy.
Yes.
I can't believe that it's been 35 years. I think everybody here remembers where they were when you purchased this album, because of, the anxiety that it caused walking through the record store. As a guy, what's funny is that they had little Gilbert Davison clips, that of the interview that we did with Gilbert Davison. And we were talking about this album. And I'm going to share one of these clips that's a little bit groundbreaking, because some of you guys that aren't regular listeners don't know about this, but, it was funny because I was looking at some of the comments, and I try never to do that because sometimes it's just like,
right,
these comments, because I know I say stupid all like the whole time. But what's interesting is that there was one guy that was like, because both you and I were like, oh, when we bought this album, it was kind of a little bit,
Yeah.
because it was like, you had to buy another album to cover up this album.
Yeah.
Because, it's just not, it wasn't a machismo thing, more or less, because it was the 80s, but it was like this weird, I'm walking around with this album and again.
Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. It was what it was during that time. The walking around with an album cover of a nude guy just wasn't something that I was, the kids my age were actually going to be able to do and not get in trouble or beat up or roughed up or whatever it was.
Or
it
at
was
least
not one of those
at
things.
least questioned, or like
At least questioned.
at least, and it's like I'm okay. I want to listen to the album, but there was
I get questioned now. So
there was one guy that said, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was some guy, and a bunch of people liked it. I was like, really? They're like, really? Are you that freaked out about? It's amazing that you guys are so freaked out about gay stuff. And I was like, what?
That wasn't
anything about that.
That wasn't even. Yeah, that wasn't the issue. Yeah,
just like I can't believe that you guys are. It's kind of like
no. It was porn basically at that time. That's porn.
Playgirl. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with sexuality like that, like whose preference or gay or whatever you want. That's not what it was. It was me. I'm not walking around with nudity because that's just not going to work. Plus, if my parents had seen that,
it would be the same way. I mean, maybe a little less so, but even if it had a naked woman on the cover, it would still be really awkward to be walking around.
Couldn't have done it.
Or with a
no
person who's like, dude, this is what I'm buying.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have done it. Same thing.
I had a lotion, please.
I'll take 2 tissues, please. I'm young. I only need 2. Yeah, it's true.
It's just a thing. It was just weird. But anyways, let's just move on. 35th anniversary. I know it didn't freak a lot of people out. Some people were just like, whatever, this is Prince, is going to happen. Funkenberry, where I had him on the show. He's been on the show many times, but I had him on the show. He said he had this poster of the Love Sexy album hanging on his living room wall. And I was like, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. Kudos, brother. But that's a lot.
Wow.
But it's the 35th anniversary of this album tomorrow, which is awesome. It's his 10th album, released on May 10th, 1988. And there was so much. There is actually an album chat. I'm going to release the album chat tomorrow on Facebook. I think it's behind closed walls now for the Patreon supporters. If you want to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Funkatopia, that's patreon.com/Funkatopia. That is what helps keep our radio station online because it's ASCAP licensed. And it also just helps help us pay for all the stuff that we have to pay for to run the radio station and the site and everything else.
Right.
But the album cover, the album chat talks a lot about the history of this, including the fact that, the Black Album was supposed to come out and it got canceled and it was replaced with this one. And Ingrid Chavez had a lot to do with that. But again, I'm going to release that Love Sexy album chat to the general public tomorrow. Again, it's behind Patreon walls right now, but I'm going to move it outside for you guys. And we've got a lot of details. I'm going to have to redo that album chat because there was a whole bunch of details that kind of got revealed, even with Gilbert Davidson. When we had Gilbert on the show, he actually revealed a bunch of stuff too about that album, and more and more details kind of come out, which kind of update. It kind of updates a bunch of things. Now, here's something that most of you probably did not know. And I'm going to play a little bit of a clip. It's just a 50-second clip, so you don't have to worry about getting involved or anything. But this may actually blow a lot of people's minds. You may not know this. If you've been listening to the show for a long period of time, you already know this because we've talked about it before. But this was groundbreaking. This reveal right here was groundbreaking when we had Gilbert on the show. So watch this clip. Here's the next question. What were your thoughts about that album cover?
Well, so when we did that album cover, he wasn't naked. He did have on shorts. Just Sorry.
What?
I mean, he did.
Wait,
Yeah, they airbrushed that out.
Are you
he didn't-
serious? Wait.
Yes. No, he had shorts on during that.
Did you know that, Jeff Paige? Did you know that? Were you aware
I
that?
did not know
Did
that.
you know that he was wearing shorts and this was
I'm
air?
sorry. I don't
Did
need it.
anybody
You know
else
what?
know
Just
that?
stick with your imagination. Yeah,
No,
he
my
didn't.
imagination wanted to believe what you just said.
No, he had on.
I wanted him to wear shorts. I'm glad.
We
Yeah.
wanted
He,
to
he had on shorts. Yeah, Prince did have a certain level of modesty, just despite
Wow.
yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Oh man.
So that was a clip just from the Gilbert Davidson interview that we did, where he revealed, to our shock and to everybody's shock, even historian Dwayne Tootle was like, "Wait, what?" That Prince was wearing green shorts when they did that photo shoot, and then they airbrushed skin. They airbrushed it.
They did a good job.
Just like they did with what was the other thing that I can't remember what it was now. Anyways,
you're making stuff up now.
No. I did. I just lost my train of thought, but because I just saw that Andrew said he just listened to Neurotic Lover's Bedroom. Yeah, so that just blew a lot of people's minds, because it was just like, what is going on? Because even Dwayne was just like, that's got to go in the book. I was happy. It's just crazy. So we got a lot of stuff that's going to be popping up in Dwayne Tootle's book regarding Love Sexy, because Dwayne is working on the next set of books that's going to have Love Sexy stuff going on. And man, it's really, really cool that there's new things that are coming up. And I need to wait for that book to come out before I do the album chat, because he's going to be doing all the stuff surrounding Love Sexy.
Right.
So I just need to wait. That's just
there definitely will be some new unexpected surprises, little nuggets of gold.
Yeah, it is what it is. So
yeah, absolutely.
So there you have it. That's it's amazing thing.
It's so funny when you show an earlier clip. I'm thinking to myself, man, it's a good thing I wasn't wearing an orange scarf today. Good thing I don't have the same clothes on. I only got 3 outfits, right? We need to hold up a little bit.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I got one more clip that I'm going to show before we get into this Michael Jackson versus Prince discussion. Again, well, I'll go into how it's a little less versus than anything else. We'll talk about that in a second. But, anyways, I wanted to play this clip because have you seen this new show that Jimmy Fallon is hosting called That's My Jam? Have you watched it at all?
I haven't watched it yet.
I have not either.
No.
It's been on for a while. It's been on for months. But I have not watched it. I just haven't watched it. But I thought what it was just a bunch of people that were getting tested on their musical knowledge of lyrics and whatever else. I really don't know. I mean, it could well be that is what it is. But I didn't understand the whole premise, but it just gets stranger and more twisted as it goes. And I found this little clip interesting. It's going to be the last clip that we do before we break into the Michael Jackson versus Prince section. But and you'll see why this is a segue. You'll see why. But essentially, the point of the show is it's called That's My Jam. Jimmy Fallon hosted it, and it's always filled with a bunch of different stars. And they basically, this section features a thing where they have a person sing a famous song to music that does not go with the song and in the style of another singer.
So like you can't tell.
What? So here is, well, you actually know, but I think it's more of like a challenge. Like, okay, you need to sing this song, but you need to sing it fast and you need to sing it in this guy's voice. And so this is a clip of Jay Farrow singing Train song Drops of Jupiter, which is an amazing track, amazing song. But it's Jay Farrow singing Train's Drops of Jupiter, but it's put to, which is a slow song, but it's put to an upbeat pop funk track. and he's singing as Prince. So, okay. It's probably just easier to watch it. Let's just take this in, and then we'll break into our Michael Jackson versus Prince thing. Here we go. This is weird.
Now that she's back in the atmosphere with drops of Jupiter in her hair. She acts like some man walks like rain. Reminds me that there's a time to change. Amazing, right? Since the return of a stay on the moon, she listens like spring and she talks like June. Get up! Did you sail across the sun? Did you make it to the Milky Way to see the lights on faded? The heaven is overrated. Tell me, can't be simple for your mind. Was it everything you wanted to find? And did you miss me while you were looking for yourself? Oh my God! Did she fall from a shooting star? I got a question. Did you fall from a shooting star? One more time. One more time. Did you fall from a shooting star? Woo! Oh my God! Oh my God!
A standing ovation.
Standing.
For Jay Fallon.
He's so good. He's so good. That was so good. So good.
Wow.
Oh, man.
You now, come on. Jay Fallon right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, my God.
So it's just weird. And the reason why I think this is a good segue, that was funny. The reason why, I mean, for something that probably was rehearsed maybe really, really quickly before the show, it's pretty funny. He sounded more like Michael Jackson than he did Prince. just some of his mannerisms and some of the things that he was doing vocally were more Michael Jackson than Prince. So yeah,
He didn't get enough. You know, he's got to get a little more exclamation points in his lines.
Mama say, Mama say, Mama Susa. All right,
Say something. You know?
That song for Kristen's asking what song was that? That was actually a song that does not exist. It was the lyrics to Train's Drops of Jupiter, and it was Jay Farrow singing it. The music was just upbeat music. It sounded a little bit like Kiss, a little bit.
It was definitely a Kiss rendition.
It was a rendition of Kiss, and he was supposed to sing it as Prince, but he sang a totally different melody line. He could have accentuated the fact that it sounded like Kiss by following that melody line, but he didn't. He went off and did his own thing, and I don't know. It just kind of ended up like that.
It looked like they had fun. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So, anyways, there's my dog barking away. All right, so let's do this. We are going to do what most people are upset about here, and
wait.
Hold on a second. We're gonna put this out. What's going on? Yes, it's more like Little Sweet from Dr. Pepper. Yes, I would agree. Ocean said it's more like Little Sweet.
Sweet.
Dr. Pepper commercial. Yeah. Yes. It is what it is. All right. So now we're going to break into the discussion that is the core of what we'll be talking about tonight. And I think I propose this as Prince versus Michael Jackson. And let me be real clear that this is more of this is not more of a versus thing, because I mean, obviously, if you've been a follower of this show, you know which way we're going to lean. But this is more of a comparison. It's just kind of looking over their career, and just kind of more of a reflection of each artist, you know, and just kind of taking it from there.
Yeah, we'll take the verses out and put "and," you know, or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is one of these age-old discussions, and I think what happens is the biggest thing, obviously, is that, and probably, you know, what's probably funny. Let me see if
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just say that personally, as many times as many people do it, I'm sick of the comparison only because I agree with Joni. It's apples to oranges. They are completely different in what they do and how they do it. And I appreciated both. So the comparisons for me are always like, oh gosh, not again, just like many others. But it's still sometimes fun to do.
Yes. So, and I thought was this was interesting. I was looking through, like, I have a stack of old magazines, and I'm going to make my screen bigger. Sorry for you guys that are listening on the Funked Up app. I'm actually going to show a little bit of a visual right now. I'm going to take this graphic down but I'm going to make myself larger just for a moment because this is from the National Enquirer, May 7th, 1985. And this is actually, this is something that's been going on in the 80s forever, that because of the fact that they were like battling for a position on the pop charts, that they just kind of felt like they need to put themselves at odds with each other all the time. But this is from the National Enquirer, and it says, Prince, bodyguard tells why he's living in a secret world of fear, how Michael is paralyzed by fear of Prince. This is an actual National Enquirer, May 7th, 1985. And I have like these old magazines like this.
Just remember, it was the National Enquirer.
Yes, it was. But this, I mean, come on, it was every magazine, every single pop magazine.
It really was.
Put them in odds with each other. I just didn't have any right here, but I trust me, I know all of you folks that grew up in that era. I was born in 68, so I was a teenager in the 80s, and I saw it. I saw it everywhere, and it was definitely media fueled.
Yep.
But what's interesting about it is, and I was talking with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Casey Rain. Casey Rain, a pretty big pop star overseas, but he also ran, I don't know if it's still around or not, but he also ran an organization called the online place called the Violet Reality. And we were talking because he's a huge Michael Jackson fan too. And it was just like, what's weird about it is that while there was some animosity that was kind of between them, they were also kind of friends also. That was like something weird, a weird theme that kind of got stirred up among the fans, that they hated each other and that they, this, that, and the other. Now, some of that came from that infamous, that infamous New Year's Eve show with James Brown, where Michael Jackson came up on stage and sang a little bit with James Brown's band, told him that Prince was out there in the audience and made him come up, and then Prince hopped on the back of Chick, and Chick brings him up, and he takes off his shirt and he rides around and plays guitar, grabs onto a lamppost that is a prop, and tries to lean on the lamppost, and the whole lamppost comes down and he falls into the audience. And then after that, apparently in backstage, there was the whole thing where Quincy Jones said that Prince was so furious with everything that happened that he tried to run over Michael and his mom in the parking lot backstage. This is from Quincy Jones' mouth. This is not like rumor. This he actually said it in an interview. He tried to run us over. It's just there. I think there is like this weird. There's always a rivalry when you're talking about pop charts, because that's ultimately how you prove your dominance in the music industry, is how well you do on the pop charts. That's just the reality of it. There are some bands that never have number one hits, or maybe they have one, but they still have a long career, like the Grateful Dead,
great.
Dave Matthews Band, those types of things, that they have hits that kind of make blips and bleeps, but as in pop, it's the charts are how you measure. So there had to be a rivalry there. We do know that, but one of the things I do know is that they were friends. They actually talked on the phone. I know that, we knew that Prince was very, very visibly upset when Michael Jackson died. So it was just this, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to,
Yeah, no. I mean, you pretty much said it. Like that's the fact.
They were
it
friends.
wasn't what we think it is, but that's what tabloids and media does, though. That's their job, to stir everybody up.
That's what I did to get you to watch the show. I did it to bring you here to the show. I said, Prince versus Michael Jackson. We're going to do it tonight. And y'all came. So it's kind of funny. I just thought of that. I was like, I just did it. Anyways, the point of this being, most of that was definitely media fueled. And so, but we are going to talk about some of the things because there are some legit comparisons, as far as history and longevity. And Jeff Paige, what I want you to do is I definitely want to make sure that you keep an eye on the chat room, because when we get to this part of this, people really start to get really passionate. And I want to make sure that Michael Jackson fans are heard. And I want to make sure that Prince fans are heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Just control that passion, though. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to play with you.
I'm going to bash anybody, because I've seen some people get really, really upset. And
don't do that, because we are grown folks.
This is grown folks. we are a majority. Our majority of our fan base is on Facebook. We are all grown folk here.
I will cut you. I'm just saying.
We are not TikTokers. We are Facebook folk. We are grown folk. We are in the social media graveyard.
That's right.
So anyways, all that being said, listen, we're going to break this down because there's some topics I want to talk about. I want to talk about longevity. I want to talk about the volume of music that both of them created. And we'll talk about musicianship. We'll talk about vocals. We'll talk about their dance. We'll talk about performance. We're going to talk about all these things individually, but I want to break it before we even start. And I'll say my piece and I'll let you say yours in regards to how we feel about them. Overall, it was kind of like a collective thing, kind of like fast forwarding to the end of the show. We're not, because we're kind of go back. You kind of know what the ending is. I grew up listening to funk in general, and I wasn't really paying attention to Motown that much growing up. Even though I grew up in Detroit, I spent some time in Detroit and up in New Jersey and New York. I did not. Motown wasn't on my radar, mainly because the radio stations that I got in the part of Michigan that I lived in only picked up a couple of radio stations that I really wanted to listen to. One was an R&B station that didn't really, that played Marvin Gaye, Lenny White, It just played Earth, Wind, and Fire, Stevie Wonder, and then during the day, the other one that would come in would be classic rock and roll. So I'd get the Steve Miller Band, I'd get Led Zeppelin, I'd get all that stuff. So I was like a melting pot. And Motown, I guess either I just didn't tune into that station or I just wasn't in it. So as far as the Jackson 5 is concerned, they weren't really. I mean, I knew the songs like ABC and some of the hits that would come over the radio, but I was not a big follower of Michael Jackson at all. Not until I moved to down south and I picked up Off the Wall. And this is obviously when he was on his solo. And when Off the Wall came out, I was like, man, I played that album nonstop. And matter of fact, I played that obsessively before I was even really fully into Prince. And Off the Wall was just a friggin' masterpiece.
Phenomenal.
I
Yeah.
mean, it still to this day is one of the best albums out there. Off the Wall is just, it's untouchable. And I know that guys, you know, like Prince that are in the industry, they hear an album like that and like, oh, okay, this is, of course you're talking about next level production. You know, you got Quincy at the helm, and you know, you've got all this access to all this money that's been kind of being proven that you can put it up and it's going to be able to be supported by the audience because of the fact that he's had this whole career of Jackson 5. But anyways, but then as I restarted to get back into funk when I came to Atlanta, it just went haywire and I became obsessed with the sound of, with Prince's sound, Prince's signature sound, that sound that was funk, but still had this new wave new wave edge to it. Because I was hardcore into Thomas Dolby, Peter Gabriel, The Fix. You heard me talk about The Fix all the time. But I loved all those new wave bands, and you know, I just loved them. That was XTC, just phenomenal bands that just had, it was great.
Yeah.
And here was Prince that had funk, but he still had these, especially like during Dirty Mind and even Controversy. He was creating these funk sounds, but they had this new wave edge to it, like the Ronnie Talk to Russias and the stuff was just like, what is happening here? And I'd never heard, there was never any music I'd ever heard like it. And every single album that he came out with just kept changing and changing and changing. And then Michael Jackson came out with Thriller. And obviously I loved that sound, Beat It, and, Thriller. And I remember when the debut premiere of that video came on MTV, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I liked all of it, but I never bought the album. I didn't buy the album until like many, many years after it was released. I was just a hit. I just listened to the hits and thing. But with Prince, it was totally different. Like the day the album came out, I was like at the record store just waiting. So I was always leaning towards Prince, but I always liked Michael Jackson. I didn't have any problems with Michael Jackson. I thought that he had good stuff, but I was just obsessed with Prince. So all that to say, I'm obsessed with both of them. I'm obsessed with Prince, obviously, but I really appreciate Michael Jackson and everything that he contributed to music and all the things that he did, and for the pop star that he is. But you know, we'll kind of get into some of the details of this as we start to break down some of the categories. But what was your Michael Jackson Prince story as far as which came first?
Yeah, I'm going to say that that's very similar in some aspects of it, because for me, there was Michael Jackson. I mean, there was the Tavares, and there were so many other artists that were making music, and I was just listening to whatever my parents were purchasing and buying, and we were listening to that. So of course it was all of that. Michael Jackson, I always liked Michael Jackson, and I always would try to mimic or sing Michael Jackson stuff. But again, the thing about it is he was a child star. So he was already there when I was old enough to start noticing and paying attention to music. Yep. So, you know, that it was just a no-brainer. You're gonna like Michael Jackson regardless, and you're just gonna be drawn to that. And he had some brilliant songs. And you know, when you're a kid and you're hearing songs like Ben, you know, you're feeling that, and you want to sing and you want to do all that stuff. What started to happen though is then Prince started doing his thing, and you know, I mean, he'd been out doing stuff, but you started realizing, but Prince was the rebel bad boy down the street. And I was right at that age where it was time for a change. Now, Michael's strength was the fact that he had MTV and video, and you know what I mean? Like he hit that point where you were waiting for a video from Michael Jackson. You knew something was going to happen and something big. And so it was always this I can't wait. But I never waited for a Michael Jackson album or record. But
Right.
the video, because of the timing, again, he was there first, and you had no choice. You had to feel that. And there was just raw talent. It was, you can't argue that. When Prince came out, just like you said, it was completely like, wow, what is this sound? But for me, it was that rebel attitude. The music was strong too, but the attitude that he brought with it, it was what he was saying and how he was saying it. And I could just always be like, "Grr!" and I just loved that feeling. And so Prince became, whoa. And then of course, with Prince's music, that's how I suddenly started realizing how, dare I say this and not sound like I'm being something weird, but I learned and started to understand music from hearing him, not from hearing Michael. I could sing everything and with everyone and always wanted to dance with everybody. But when I started hearing Prince is when I started realizing, oh, that's what music is. I can do this. So
something it's very, very detailed. The music that he was doing, not that what Quincy was writing and whoever the writers were for a lot of Michael's songs didn't have intricate detail. It's just that
I mean, there was a point where as much as I liked Michael Jackson, in my heart, I don't know why, maybe I was regurgitating something someone else said, but I always thought, well, with that kind of money, you can buy the greatest producers and make the greatest music. That's just what my mentality was. Even though he had his hand in it, I didn't know how much of his hand was in it. I just went, well, no surprise he made another great one. But, when you come up with songs like Earth Song and, those other things, I'm going to be like, this is the most amazing thing, because there were some brilliant songs. So,
was just, and no songs were ever the same. Like you listen to an album like Controversy and nothing sounds the same. No two songs side by side. It's like there's nothing thematic that's happening there. I think Rainbow Children was probably the first album that Prince ever released that had a theme to it that kind of the songs seemed like they kind of flowed together.
Right.
Man, it's totally different.
Well, I think the thing that sold me on Michael, other than the angst and the rebel and all that, because that already had me going, was what you said about waiting, like chomping at the bit at the record store. Well, Prince was the first time he was releasing so much, like the music was coming out so fast, and you never knew I never knew when it was coming. So I found myself constantly just going to the record store just in case a record came out, a new album. So
friend knew when it was coming, because there was no internet back then. So you either had to find out somewhere.
Right. And I didn't know how to do that. Nor did I care. All I knew was I loved music. And so I was always looking for a Prince record. Oh, did another one come out? Because he came out with so much so fast, and they were all hitting hard. So, that was the slam dunk for me.
Yeah, I think, so let's start talking a little bit about the topics. And obviously I'm trying to watch the chat area and keep an eye on some of the things that are being said here. A lot of people giving shout outs, because I mentioned that I was, spent some time in my childhood in the 70s in Detroit, and shout out to Electrifying Mojo, Charles Duff, from there. Because Mojo would do these things where when Prince released an album, of course, this wasn't until the 80s, so I was already out of Detroit at that point in time. But when Prince would release an album, the Electrifying Mojo would play the entire album on the radio station, which was just unheard of. I mean, he would play the entire album front to back, no commercial break. He would just say, here's a new album from Prince, and he'd play the whole friggin' thing. Who does that? And I think when, you've got somebody that supports you like that, that's one of the reasons why Prince actually gave him, an interview or two. I think it was one major interview that he did right before the release of Under the Cherry Moon. I think that you can find online. But let's talk about longevity. Obviously, if you're going to do any type of competition, Michael Jackson wins this by a landslide. I mean,
hands down.
I mean, Michael Jackson was in the industry a lot longer than Prince. I mean, he literally started as a child, and
He was a baby.
Michael Jackson's first released song was "I Want You Back," that was released in 1969.
Come
I
on.
was one. I was one when Michael Jackson released his first song. So, and of course, here's the other thing too. And you've heard me say this before. A lot of this stuff I wasn't even privy to because my parents were hippies. So I was being spoon-fed the Beatles and the Moody Blues and trippy stuff like Ultimate Spinach and all these weird bands that from the 70s that were just like wow, da, 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 and it was just like all about the acid trip, so which probably explains quite a bit. But anyway, so Michael releases his first song, "I Want You Back," in 1969, and Prince's first debut album, "For You," didn't even come out until 1978. So you're talking about it's a decade difference between the two. Now, as far as longevity is concerned, even when Michael Jackson passed away in 2009, Prince continued recording and performing for another 7 years until he passed away in 2016. So while you even talk about longevity where Prince may have caught up as far as years in the music business on the back end, Michael Jackson still won.
Right.
So, and even if you're talking about that, it's just experience, just the weird quirkiness of Michael and I don't know. It's, to me, longevity is very, very important, but it's also how much music that you put out too in that period of time.
Absolutely.
You even look at like artists like right now. Jesse Johnson comes to mind. I'm bringing Jesse Johnson kind of out of the blue. I'm bringing Jesse Johnson.
Hey,
Jesse Johnson has been in this business for a really, really long time, but dude doesn't release albums like. When did Verbal Penetration come out?
Oh yeah,
It's like, well, it was like over 10 years ago, right? So it's like, somebody that's supposed to be so prolific in as an artist, and he's a good singer. People like to hear him sing,
and he's worked with a lot of other people.
He's worked with guys like D'Angelo, and
yes,
he's worked with tons of people.
Yeah,
and for some reason, he's just not putting out any music of his own. I don't know if he's just not interested, and he's just like, meh, done that or whatever. But I think there goes a lot to be said that if you have like a huge amount of talent, that you should be continually releasing music. Now, let's talk about that volume of music. The volume of music, obviously, Prince wins us hands down. Because this actually came, the only reason why I even had this discussion about talking about this tonight was because I asked Casey on Twitter, I said, we know that Prince has hundreds of songs, of unreleased songs in the vault. And I'm going to be honest, because I'm not a hardcore Michael Jackson follower, don't know all the intricate details. There's no other artist that I know a lot of that this volume of details about other than Prince. Does Michael have a bunch of unreleased tracks that are sitting in a vault or sitting unreleased somewhere? Because the reality of it is that dude passed away 14 years ago. And if he does have a huge volume of unreleased music that is out there, you're talking about Prince fans that are getting insanely mad 7 years later.
Yeah,
we haven't got a huge release of unreleased music, but for Michael Jackson fans, if there is a bunch of unreleased music in there and it's been 14 years and you guys still haven't seen anything, I would imagine you guys have to be friggin' furious. I mean, you guys have to be just beside yourself. What were you going to say? While you're saying this, I'm going to pull up Casey's response on this.
That's fine. Yeah, I was going to say, well, Prince fans, again, rebellious nature, we'll fight for everything. Michael Jackson fans, hold back a little bit, reserved, respectful. I don't know. Yeah. But I agree with you. If he, since it's likely that there is a lot of music still unreleased, and that should be given to the people too. I believe that. I think it should be, but I would imagine there's some people probably walking around screaming upset about it, but I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to find his response so I could kind of read it verbatim. So I'm still looking for it, but I will kind of give you basically what he said. There is, from what he understands, there is about 3 albums worth is what he says is there unreleased. There was a album, I guess, that came out called History. I know about it. I saw it, and I just don't know this album. History came out, and on that album were 4 supposed unreleased tracks, and it had to be retracted because 3 of those tracks were fake. It was like a big thing. It was like a big, huge thing. It was very, very upsetting in the Michael Jackson world. And if that's not the correct album, one of the albums, as I'm just telling you what had happened, is that there was some unreleased tracks that were put onto that album, and they had to retract the album later, or re-release the album with those tracks removed because they were not legit. Because everybody, all the purists that were out there were just like, that's not Michael. That's not Michael. Kind of like what we would do if a Prince album came out and there were tracks on there that kind of didn't really sound like Prince. And you were like, that doesn't sound like him at all. And it would just, we would lose our minds. That would start, we absolutely positively we would lose our minds. So getting back to the core of what I was talking about before, as far as the volume of music that gets created, Prince wins this hands down. And and let's talk about the last time that I looked this up was a few years ago. But at that point, Michael Jackson had 10 studio albums, 1 live album, 6 EPs, and 2 posthumous releases for a total of 19 releases. In his lifetime. That includes Jackson 5 stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. 19. Prince has 39 studio albums. So he has 20 more just with studio albums. 4 live albums. 1. Now, obviously, there's remixes and stuff. I'm not remix albums and greatest hits and things I'm not including. The MPG Orchestra album, 3 MPG albums, 12 albums released via the internet only, 13 EPs, 2 Madhouse albums, 1 posthumous album at that point in time, which a few years ago. Now there's like 3 or 4 posthumous albums. So that's 50 released albums plus the few that I'm not even counting. So it's like almost like 53 albums. 53 albums. And there are still, from what we hear, there's always like this level of, well, really, how much is back there in the vault? Apparently there's a lot. But they're saying, well, we can release an album of Prince's every single year for the next 100 years. Okay. Let's just say that is an over exaggeration. Let's just say that there's 50 albums in there. Let's just say it's half of what they say there is. That's still 50 albums. That's still over 100 albums of content that he has. Now, the obvious advantage that Prince has in this particular case is that Prince is a musician. He plays all of his instruments. We've seen Michael sit down and tinker on the piano. Maybe he was taught a few chords by Quincy or somebody and, saying, hey, sit behind the piano, we'll film you. And we've never seen him do a full thing. But Prince played every single instrument. And not only did he play every single instrument, but he played every single instrument proficiently. And he owned his own studio. Not that Prince didn't own his own studio, but he lived in the studio and was recording 24/7, not just with his own stuff, but music that he wrote for other artists and playing with other artists. And so he was a nonstop machine of just making music. With Michael, he would have had to have been, constantly bringing people in and out. Not that he couldn't have.
Right.
Because I just got done watching, there's one more episode of the Tupac special from Tupac Shakur's special, Dear Mama. I don't know if you guys have been watching this, but they were talking about his work ethic in the studio, and he was constantly in there. Now, he was not a musician, but he would get artists and producers. Now, obviously, a lot of the stuff they were doing was, production stuff or whatever. But if you've got the wherewithal and you've got the time to do it, you can bring people in to satisfy. He was not a musician, but he could bring producers in, and he could bring artists in and bring musicians in and keep that music flowing and keep that, just keep it going.
Right.
But Michael didn't do that for whatever reason. Maybe he needed to be in the moment to create music. I don't know what it was.
Well, it's possible that he was, but things weren't moving him. It's very possible that, it's the producer's job to create the music. They find a song, and you're a producer, you're bringing in the people to create what you need and what you want to hear. You don't have to play it yourself. So let's just, make that clear as far as getting things released. It's very possible that Michael just went through those. Nope, that's not the one. No, it has to be perfect. It has to be this, and that has to be that. There were a lot of stories about how he was meticulous about things that he did, just like Prince with a lot of things. So, you can't say he didn't try. Maybe he just wasn't moved by enough things. That's possible too. He could have been very active in the studio all the time.
Yeah.
That's, it's hard to predict that or know that without actually being there.
Yeah, but where's that output? Because when I asked that question on Twitter, and I asked it specifically to Casey, I did it to Casey Rain. I did it publicly, and Casey responded. And he gave me a very, very detailed answer about what he knew, what was released posthumously. Obviously, the things that happened with the Michael album. I said history. Sorry, it was the Michael album from 2010 that had the 3 fake tracks. So there was a lot going on with. It just surprises me that someone who's been in the industry that long.
Yeah, I agree. I can understand that.
Couldn't write more. You should have. I just feel like you could have written more. But then that was the reason why I brought Jesse Johnson's name up in this mix, is because Jesse Johnson is a phenomenal artist, and he has what? He has one review, Shakadelica, Every Shade of Love, Verbal Penetration, Bare My Naked Soul.
Yeah,
5 albums. That's it. 5 albums. Again, all the years that he's done it. 5 years. So maybe it's just for some people, they're just not. They just don't. And this is a guy I've never seen do an interview, or I've never seen him not being holding a guitar.
Right. I'm just going to devil's advocate this one, man.
Go ahead.
Let's just also think about this. You're trying to compare Michael's output to the likes of Prince when there is nobody that can compare to the likes of Prince. So this isn't a fair battle. And so he's not going to get a fair shake on that, because you just can't imagine that. But if you take Michael's output and you compare it to everybody and anyone else greats, there aren't very many that have put out a whole lot of albums. Right. So if you really look at the scope of it outside of Prince, he was right where the status quo. Realistically, who else did that? So I just don't think that that's a fair. You can't touch that output. You just can't.
Well, I think this is kind of when you look at it from that scope, because whenever this conversation comes up with Michael Jackson versus Prince, it always comes up. These Michael Jackson fans will stand up and they'll stomp their feet and go, "There was never anybody great." It was like, well, there's some things that Michael cannot touch Prince on. Obviously, with the musicality of the musicianship on all the instruments,
right.
and the volume of music. When you're talking about those two things, oh boy,
yeah. Well,
really hard to get close to that and be able to still stomp your feet and go, nope, still Michael Jackson's better. Okay, you know what? And there's gonna be some people who are gonna say both of them suck. Elton John's better.
Right. Well, hey, there's more brilliance right there.
Where you stand and where your allegiances lie. And I totally get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Michael Jackson. And the only thing that I really am, the only thing that I'm so, how do you get to this? I think y'all know what I'm going to say. I really feel like it was a disservice to his legacy. All the legal crap that he went through with these accusations and allegations that,
Yeah.
just to be clear, and HBO specials, oh my God, that were just incredibly damning. Even
Right.
though he was proven innocent in a court of law,
Right. Right.
it was
It
just
didn't
like,
matter.
it didn't matter, because you still, when people talk about Michael Jackson that aren't Michael Jackson fans, that are just kind of just, what they hear or whatever,
Yeah.
they go to that. And that I think is
It's too bad because
it's horrendous, because now it's like, even as a DJ, I go and I DJ a lot of events. And I love doing parties, especially Prince parties and stuff like that. But whenever I play Michael Jackson, even in the back of my mind, I'm like, how people are going to receive this? It's just, because you never know, because people just have just made up their mind about him, even though all of it, he was proven innocent of all that stuff. It still tarnished his legacy so much.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just so.
He said it best in his own interview when he said, "That's ignorant." Of course, he said, "That's ignorant," but the point is, that's exactly what it was: is ignorance. Yeah. And that's it. There's nothing else you can attribute it to. There's people, when it's decided that your time is up, as far as marketing and people, and somebody wants something from you and they are going to cut you at the knees, it's going to happen. And that's the bottom line. It's going to happen. Whether, of all the, you can go through all the debates and what was true and what wasn't true and whatever. Bottom line is, when somebody said, "All right, we've had enough of him," it didn't matter whether it was true or not at that point.
Yeah.
So it's too bad, because hands down, in the early days. Now, again, this is whether you enjoyed. Actually, we're probably going to talk about it later, so I guess I won't jump around too much.
No, we can move on to the next topic.
Yeah, my brain is like, oh, what else? So never mind. I'll shut up now.
No, I mean, and it's fine. So we've already kind of covered the musicianship topic. That's not even.
Yeah, you can't.
And we've already talked about this also. That somebody said, "Oh, well, he can do all the instruments with his vocals, so he kind of knows what So he could.
Most
most
talented musicians can. Yeah,
most vocalists can. Most vocalists can if they've got an idea of a song in their head. But there are some. Don't get me wrong. There are some vocalists who cannot come up with a melody to save their lives, and if it wasn't for writers and people writing for them.
Right.
And there's plenty of artists that are on the radio right now that probably without those producers and people that are writing for them, you look at artists like Sia. I mean, not Sia. Sia, who writes so much. She writes so many hits for so many people.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even know that.
Yeah.
She's like the writer of Rihanna's Diamonds, and she's like
a hit machine.
She's like a hit machine.
Yeah.
And you see these writers that, in the background that are like responsible for most of the hits that are on there, because there are some artists that are out there that, they can execute with the best of them.
Right.
But if you put them in a recording studio they're just, it's hopeless. So I know a lot of people like that, but I don't think that Michael was like that. I think he had song ideas in his head, and I think he had to, really. I think there was so much demand.
Absolutely.
For output from him. It just is what it is. Which I guess brings us to the vocals. This is impossible. really, because they both had very distinct vocals, and each of them had their own falsetto that they did. Michael had a very distinct vocal. Prince definitely had a wider range,
Right.
and also better falsetto.
Mhm.
And that's not an opinion. There are many who obviously prefer Michael's vocals over Prince's.
Yeah, you may, but if you're a vocal coach, yeah.
If you're a vocal coach or a professional who actually understands the dynamics of vocals, undoubtedly, it's just the range consideration alone.
But I'm willing to bet. If you take that category and you break it down further to pre-puberty, Michael would blow Prince away.
God, yeah,
because Michael had some pipes before he suddenly started playing with his pipe. Whatever we got to that age where his vocals started changing, before he was like the Brady Bunch, time to change.
Well, and that was part
He
of
had
the
some
problem
pipes.
too. I mean, I'm assuming that those the rumors are have any are substantiated at all, but he was actually taking medication to keep his voice from changing. I mean, wasn't he taking some type of?
Well, I think it was more of
there's something going on that he was just trying to keep his voice from.
No, I think it was more of I mean, it's possible, but a lot of that is still your vocal coach and your vocal training, because you think about it, even Janet is in the same category of that. The way you speak and when you carry yourself, and you're training your voice to be what you want it to be, because it is still an instrument and you treat it how you need to treat it. So, I mean, that's why he wouldn't speak loudly, and that's why he talked gently, and that's why all the news things about his fake voice, here's his real voice. Well, it's still his voice. Whether he chooses to not put any pressure when he talks to you, it's still his voice.
Yeah.
I could sit here all day and talk like this.
We could.
I could relax all day, and you'd say, wow, his voice is amazing. And then one day I say, stop touching me.
Or touch me.
Don't touch me.
Get away.
I mean, he was still a man, a grown man, and I'm sure there were moments where he was like, "Man, don't play that in here." He had some moments.
Put that grammar down.
Put that crap down, man. Shoot.
Yeah. So, but if you're looking at it from a technical standpoint, if you're looking from a technical standpoint, if you're a vocal coach, any vocal coach. I can't think of any vocal coach that would stand here and say that Michael Jackson was the better vocalist between the two, just because of the range and the dynamics and just everything about the way that Prince executed. But a lot of people just prefer Michael Jackson's voice over Prince's. They don't like the Prince's tone. They don't like, there's a lot of things, but he was always all over the map too. So even if you didn't like a tone of Prince's, he had like 8 different tones that he could use for any different songs. And if and if one of them didn't fit there, he would change it through a vocoder and become Camille and do something totally different. So I don't know. This is kind of hard to go either way.
And depending on your preferred type of music, Michael was a pop voice. So Michael would have won as far as the vocals category, because that style that he had. Prince was more of a rock, stronger, like a different power type of voice. And if you like that pop sound and that sound that Michael helped shape and create, he's always going to win on that side. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it depends on the category. Some voices aren't made. It's just like using a microphone, in the studio. Some mics, even if it's a $30,000 mic, is not going to sound as good on your voice as that $300 mic that I have in the closet. Yeah, it just depends on the category.
But I think one thing I really appreciated too was that the very, very first song that, and I think I saw somebody mention it here. Michael mentioned it. Michael Parks mentioned Prince's first album, For You. The first song you hear is a cappella. Like, he came out of the gate with going, you want to see what I could do vocally with no instruments behind me? Here it is.
Yep.
And that was the very, very first track that anybody ever heard from him publicly ever. And that is bold.
That's bold.
That is as bold as it gets. And Lenny says it too. Is Lenny Prince had more character in his voice.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm missing all these amazing comments from Samantha McCarroll Hine, who knew Prince, and she's got some stories. I need to get her on the show one time. Anyways, yeah. So vocals, this is it's all what your preference is, really. I mean, but if you're looking at it from a technical standpoint, All right, here's one where you're going to be split down the middle. Without a doubt, you're going to be split down the middle. There is no, you can't, there's no winner here.
No.
That is in the category of dance.
Yeah.
This is so subjective. There's just no way you can't.
Do you want to break it down? Because with dance, they're two different styles. Prince is the adult erotic move dance. Michael was the pop in your face, dance. And you can't, I can't see you picking one over the other at all.
I mean, Prince had, Michael Jackson had a lot of iconic moves. I'm trying to think of a specific, and maybe the chat room can help me here. I'm trying to think of specific dance moves that Prince did that is iconic. I'm not talking about the time where you talk about the walk and the bird.
I just feel like even if I love them both, I would give this an edge to Michael Jackson.
I'm thinking. Prince is an amazing dancer. I mean, an incredible dancer, but in some of the amazing moves. But when you think about the actual, groundbreaking, if the internet was in tow back in the 80s, probably would have been internet breaking too. Things that he did, like the lean, that gravity defying lean he did, the moonwalk. Now the moonwalk was obviously done many years before, right? They showed it in this old
before
so he obviously stole it from he artistically lifted it from another artist. It wasn't Cab Calloway or somebody like that,
right?
But the moonwalk, I mean, that broke the internet before the internet was the internet.
It did. It really did. That was it at that point. But as far as how he moves on stage, I mean, both of them have a ridiculous stage presence.
And the whole choreography to Thriller. So,
all of it, every bit of it.
Right. It's just, there's not even, I think you're right. They're both phenomenal dancers, but Michael Jackson definitely, I think Michael Jackson wins this one just because there are so many things that are iconic about the dance moves that he did that people still copy to this day. I mean, if I play Thriller at a party, there's always going to be at least a few people that somehow know the choreography to this whole.
What's going to do this?
It's like, I don't even know. I still don't know how to do the Cupid Shuffle. So I don't even know. It's just amazing to me when you see these people's like, I know the whole friggin' song. There's different choreography of the whole thing.
Yes. Which takes it to the point of if we were to categorize it on the side of improvisation, Prince would win that, because I'm sure Michael could do a battle on stage of dance, but I think he would run out of stuff quicker than Prince would as far as creating or doing something like off the wall or Michael music, something different. So that's kind of what I think.
So we have this. I saw a reaction video where someone said Prince is like Mary J. Blige and MJ is like Chris Brown in terms of more recent artists. MJ had amazing choreography, and Prince danced because he felt like it.
Sorry, no. I'm not going to agree with that. You can put that down. Mary J. Blige cannot dance at all. Sorry, she's a bad beast. I love her to death. Dancing, no.
Okay.
No, they know that. Everybody knows that. That's why they don't have her do much.
Well,
Tell me.
and there's a lot of, I think there were specific tours where Prince did feel like he needed to do choreography. When we started the show, when we did the pre-show, he had all the stuff that he would do with the Game Boys, but there were certain shows that had a lot of choreography. Love Sexy had a lot of choreography. There was a lot of shows that had major choreography going on, and he really didn't do that a lot. I think the reason why he didn't like to do that, I think he felt like he had to, because I think that was more of a, I don't know. I feel like he felt like he needed to do it, but he didn't like to do it on tour as much. And I'm just saying, I don't think that he did, because things get repetitive for him, and he likes to be free in the moment, and he likes to kind of move and do his thing. And I think this came about. There was a discussion I was reading something from one of the tours, and maybe it was the Purple Rain tour, that he was really wanting to just move on. He was like, especially the second leg of that tour, he was just like, let's just stop. Let's just go on, because it was the same thing. Because Purple Rain wasn't choreographed, but as far as what I'm doing, where I am on the stage, what I'm playing, it was, Purple Rain was very, very, this is what's happening. It's this song, then this song, then this song, then this song, then this song. And it was one of the most stoic shows that he's done. And then once you kind of get, and Love Sexy was the same way.
Right.
But because it was a play more than anything else, it was just
beautifully done too.
It was amazing. That was probably one of the best out of all the concerts that I saw with Prince in the 80s. That was probably one of the best ones, because Rob and I had front row balcony at that show, so we were able to sit and just absorb it all and not have to worry about somebody standing in front of us, and we just
it's still my favorite. It's hands down my favorite concert of all.
It was a great tour. But I saw it at Omni in Atlanta, but it was just, I
think Prince was brilliant at emoting whatever was happening on stage. He's the king of dance like no one's watching.
Yeah.
He'll do whatever he feels, what the music moves him to do. And that is the difference between the two. Because I don't think Michael could do that. I mean, to a level, of course, he could, because of his style, and he was a great dancer. He was trained and taught a lot of killer stuff. So of course he can move to the music and come up with combinations, but I just don't think he could feel it the same way on stage between the two of them.
Yeah. So. Prince is amazing. Amazing dancer. When he wants to choreograph stuff, he will, but I think he is more interested in, again, this is all assumption, but I would imagine that he is more interested in the music part of it, and creating the music and crafting the music and choreographing the music part of it, than having to waste his time doing choreography for a whole entire,
Yeah. And I would think he's probably more interested in the performance, the gift to the people. I think is more about the show, and let me just give to them, and I'm giving you all of me. And that's it, and so you can't put a choreography cap on that. You have to just let it be free, because I think that's what his thing was. It's about who's out there, who came to see me. This is for you, not for me.
And I think this kind of feeds into the last category here with this MJ comparison to Prince, which is the performance side of things. So the reality of it is that Michael Jackson was not a musician. He was a good vocalist, and people loved his vocals and everything, but his range definitely became very, very limited as he got older. So most of it was made up with the performance and the show and the spectacle of it all. I mean, and that was very, very evident with the This Is It tour. If you've ever watched that movie of what was going to happen on that performance, this whole entire show was just like one huge choreographed play that was just this massive pop, 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 pop type of thing. And it was not really, it was just, everything was always choreographed. It's always about the show. It's always about the spectacle. It's always about the performance and the dancing and the lights and the explosions and all that stuff. Whereas Prince, he was perfectly okay with just, coming out and just, even especially in the Third Eye Girl era, Third Eye Girl was just like, all right, we're going to go on stage and we're just going to play, just jam. And when I point to you, you do a solo.
Right.
It was just all about, just performing.
It's like the Parliament Funk jam session on stage.
I mean, come on. It's just, so I think, again, from a performance standpoint, it really all depends on what you consider to be the ultimate performance. Is the performance the musicality of it, or is the performance the choreography of it? Is it the show, or do you want it to be presented in like a play-like format where you're like watching like a movie unveil before you, or are you truly there for the musical part of it? Not that Michael Jackson's band wasn't phenomenal. I mean, he always had great musicians.
Yeah. I would say between the two, as far as vocals, I think they both could hold their own, no problem. I think Michael's vocals are stronger than you're making it sound, even though I know you're not saying he wasn't strong. Right. I think his vocals are a lot stronger than what you're giving him credit for. But the real thing for me, as far as performance goes, is how did I feel at the end of the day when it was all done? What did you do for me? Like throughout this show, did you take me on that journey? Did you take me on the tour? Did I go with you from beginning to end? Now, whether it was big pyrotechnics and huge stuff, or whether it was, a simple small nightclub and, just you and 6 guys, or 5 guys on a small stage, at the end, how did I feel about it? And I really think I would put them in a tie scenario. I would not. Both of them, you're going to walk away and you're going to be like, this was the most amazing show ever at the time. You can't walk. I don't know anyone who's ever walked away from a Michael Jackson show and said, meh.
Right. Well, obviously. And unfortunately,
Prince.
I've never seen Michael Jackson in concert. I never got to see him. Did you ever see Michael in concert?
I've never seen him personally in concert, but I never saw Prince either personally in concert.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah, I never made it.
Well, I've never seen MJ in concert, but I saw Prince 27 times. 26 and 27 was in Atlanta. And then I'm counting after shows and stuff like that too. So let's kind of be technical about things. But here's what I do know. Let's play devil's advocate just for a second. Let's say that you went to a show kind of similar to the Montreux Jazz Festival that Prince did. And it was just performance. It's just a band playing. The band's going to be fantastic. They're going to be well dressed, and there's going to be horns, and there's going to be, there's going to be a fantastic band, but there's no choreography. It's just a musical performance.
Mm-hmm.
What does a Michael Jackson show look like in that type of setting? Or is Michael not going to do that type of scenario? Does he always have to bring a choreographed element to this? Because that was always part. Have you ever seen Michael just stand there and just be still?
Well, see, that's the point of performance. Let's take that scenario. What you're going to see is you're going to see Michael with the band taking it easy and him moving his body, dancing. It may be subtle movements, but you're going to get every tick, every 16th note, every 16th whatever. His body's going to give that to you from Michael. And what you're going to see from Prince in that same scenario, performance, is what he does with his guitar or what he does behind an instrument. He's still going to pull out everything. It's not necessarily just the dance. Again, this is about overall performance. So I think you're still going to get, even in the smaller, no frills, not all the craziness environment, I think you're still going to get strong from both. I just don't think you're going to eke out. Anyone's going to eke out the other.
What does that after party look like with Michael Jackson?
Oh, I don't know. I can't imagine. I can't imagine Michael doing going crazy at an after party.
Yeah, again, I did not. I see somebody made a statement here. Sybil Bless says Michael Jackson didn't engage with his audience.
I feel like the smaller the
I've
stage,
never seen him. I don't know.
I feel like if you took a super small stage, Prince would make that stage even smaller by murdering it. But if you took a super large stage, Prince would shrink that stage by overpowering it. But if you took the average same size stage, the two of them, Prince and Michael on a super sized stage, both are going to be big. On a small stage, I think Prince would take it. That's what I mean. I'm sorry. On anything else, I think they're both going to do good.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Heidi Axis said Michael Jackson after party, chimps and giraffes everywhere.
That's just ignorant. That's ignorant. That's ignorant.
But you know, anyways, so I will.
What was I saying? I don't know. I'm just making up stuff now.
I mean, no, it's. I will say I hear all your points, and so again, we get to the end of this, and here's what I can tell you. They're both phenomenal musicians. I mean, artists. I'll say artists because I don't want to start saying musicians, but Michael Jackson's not. Even though I just said it. They're both phenomenal artists. And they both bring something totally different to the picture. There's some things that you just cannot compare these two against each other. It would make more sense to compare Michael to his sister Janet.
Yes.
Or to compare him to Madonna.
Yes.
Or somebody along those lines.
I would agree with that.
More sense in a comparison than this comparison.
Mm-hmm.
And Prince, I'm trying to think of somebody that you could compare him to.
Nothing compares.
That's what I'm saying. That's the other thing too. Is like who do you compare? Who makes? I saw people making some comments here about comparing Prince to somebody like Miles Davis or somebody, you know.
Oh yeah.
But then again, it's a totally different art form. It's a totally different, you know. Who is out there that is even equivalent to him on so many levels, on the musicianship level, across the board, with all instrumentation, with the volume of output,
right.
With the who is even in this realm,
right? Who's the most overall complete package?
Well, Lisa says James Brown, but James Brown was not a musician. He was not. So when you get to that musician column,
right.
When you get to the musician column, he's going to be out of the mix. It's like there's got to be somebody that is equivalent across the board. It's just, but there's not. There's just not. I keep seeing James Brown come up, but it's
I mean, he was a performer. He was brilliant on stage too. But yeah, overall complete package from musicality to stage to vocals to the whole nine. I don't think anybody really compares.
I think only thing I was thinking Quincy Jones as far as like output's concerned, because if you ever look at for Quincy Jones, it's like never friggin' ending.
Absolutely.
And
output wise, forget it.
When you look at the amount of musicianship, when you look at musicianship and capability across the board, but then you got to get into a totally different realm of music. Like Jack White comes to mind, of the White Stripes. Well, obviously he's, I don't know now, but Jack White, great musician across the board, has an amazing amount of output, puts on an amazing show, but a totally different type of artist. And there's a lot of artists out there that are like this, where that are out there now, but they're not on this level because they're not as visible as Prince was at this point in their career. Alisa says, but Quincy doesn't dance.
I like the comment, even though I wasn't expecting that. I do agree with the Bee Gees output and their skill set. That again, the timing, a whole different era as well. That's the other thing too,
is that you have to now you have to rely on multiple people to equate to one.
I know, right? Right. Exactly. Overall, both brilliant in their careers and their times with us, and gave us the greatest of times. I would still stack Prince on top.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think Lenny's got a good rap on all this stuff. Prince is the complete package, but MJ was the outlier to that. One was the sun and the other was the moon. They were equals in their genius.
There it is.
You can't just
Boom. You know what? I love that quote. I love that. I love that. I'm taking that. Not really, but
Lenny just summed it up.
Lenny wordsmithing.
Summed it up.
Well said.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about stuff. Samantha was talking about philanthropy and things like that. I mean, we could.
Oh yeah, I know.
Start talking about that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know tons of stuff that Prince did, but he kept on the download. He didn't want anybody to know that he did it.
Right.
And
Cab Calloway.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Cab Calloway. Yeah, I mean, it's just so. Anyways, that's that part. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. I don't know if we will be on the air next week or not. Here's one of the things I can tell you regarding the shows moving forward for the rest of May as we get to June and as we move into celebration territory. I can tell you there are two shows between, well, there are two Tuesdays between, no, I'm sorry, there's not. There's only one. Next week is the 16th. And then the one after that is the 23rd. So here's what I can tell you about the 23rd. The 23rd will be a celebration kind of external breakdown show. And what that will be is we're going to talk about the Prince celebration one last final time, any other new details that we have, anything that just got released. But we're primarily going to be talking about all of the events that are happening outside of the celebration. So we're talking about all the events, like the really, really cool event that Shelby J is doing with the Prince Houston group. So Prince is going to, Shelby J is going to be playing in Houston for the Prince Day Houston group.
Day Houston.
In Houston on the 6th. So if you are in the Texas area, you're not planning to go to the celebration, but you want to get a little bit of a taste of what the celebration is going to be like, you guys have an awesome opportunity in Texas because there's going to be an amazing show that is going to be happening on June 6th. Shelby J is going to be there, and she's doing a full concert, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun there. Yeah. And then, so we're going to be talking about all the types of events like that are going on outside of the celebration. Specifically, we talked about that one, and I think Shelby's going to join us on the 23rd for that show. But we're going to be talking about a lot of external events that are happening. We may invite some people that are running some of these external events to come on the show on the 23rd to tell us a little bit about those shows. So hopefully we'll have a bunch of guests that we can kind of gather together to tell you a little bit about some of the really cool shows. I'll reach out to Jelly Bean and have him come on and talk about the show that he's doing at the Capri Theater. We're going to talk about all the external shows that we got going on there.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the following week, which is the 30th, I won't be here. I'm out of town, so that show is not happening. And then the following week after that is the 6th. So that is the day before the celebration. So I know I may be popping on in a Facebook Live that will be there in Minneapolis somewhere, wherever I end up in Minneapolis. I might be at First Avenue, and might pop up my pop-up show. Jeff Paige may or may not be on location somewhere else, and he may pop up. I will tell you that Jeff Paige is not going to the celebration, unfortunately.
Wait, I could have told him that. You didn't have to tell him that. I could have told him that. You could have said, "Hey, Jeff."
Jeff Paige, are you going to the celebration?
I will announce today. You heard it here first. I unfortunately will not be at the celebration this year. So there. Now you may go on for it. Proceed as you were.
So Revolution says there's a bunch of questions about, people are asking me which events I'm going to be at. I do see the Capri event. I will normally, what I do on that show on the 23rd is I will tell you everywhere that I'm going to be. So if you want to catch up, you want to hang out or whatever, you can. I'm not saying that's the one that I'm putting our stamp of approval on. I'm just saying that's just where I'm going to be. It could be for a variety of different reasons. I don't think that I'm going to be at the Capri event that Jelly Bean is throwing. I don't know. I know that Capri event's not cheap. I want to say it's like $100 just to get in the door.
Wow.
And the amount of money that I'm spending already, I don't know that I'm going to be there. I think I'm probably alternately going to be at, there's two possible things I'm going to be doing on June 6th, which is the night before the celebration. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. But I know that Alfonso Starr is going to be doing a DJ event for free at Riley Creek across the street from Paisley Park that night. And also Dudley D is also doing his party at First Avenue, which is amazing. If you get an opportunity to go, both are great DJs and play great music. And it's going to be a lot of fun no matter which one you're at. So I'm probably going to try to make an appearance at both of those. So I don't know that Capri is going to be in the mix. I don't know. I'll tell you which one I'm going to be at on the 23rd. I'm not doing a stamp of approval. I don't know.
Right. Right.
I
plus you have to go by, depending on what your schedule is anyways, it kind of affects where you're going to be potentially.
And I don't know that I'm going to be invited to the Capri Theater anyways.
Yeah. That's right. I mean,
just because I know who's running it. And,
I mean, we won't even get into that.
We won't.
Not today, at least.
Even if I bought a ticket, they'd probably refund my money and say, hell no, go away.
Hell no, get out of my face.
People get mad about stuff. And I just, I realize I say things and I realize that sometimes I go out of the box. So I'm okay. It's whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is. That's what makes Chris.
I don't have. That's what makes. Yeah, go ahead.
What makes Mr. Christopher?
I say exactly what's on my mind, and that's it. I've never badmouthed anybody on this show ever. However, sometimes you can support somebody, and it upset another person because you're supporting them and not supporting them, and then I don't have ill will towards anybody.
Yeah, well, with the problem, in that case, the problem people run into though is when you're supporting someone else, they feel like you're not supporting them. But people have to realize it's not always about you, and that's what you run into when you talk about one person. Someone else is like, "What about me, dude? When it's your time, we'll talk about you too." But for now, sit back, relax. We'll get to you later. That's it.
I don't take sides. It's just like
Yeah.
If you want me to be there, then I know there's some people that are not going to put my name at the door. I get that, but for some of these, let me know you want me. Let me know you want me there. That's the other thing too. Is that I don't need to just. I don't want to go somewhere where I'm not wanted. That's basically what it boils down to.
It's nice to be wanted.
I want you to want me.
Yeah, you just want to be wanted. Yeah.
Don't we all? I mean, really, I really don't. I don't want to go someplace where somebody's going to be mean mugging me all night. Just like, pass.
I'm okay if I'm not wanted, but I'm okay if it's not a scenario where someone wants me there. But if it's a scenario where they absolutely don't want me, if they don't care either way, I don't care either way. But if they have a problem with me, then we're probably going to have a problem, especially if I don't care.
I don't have a problem with this person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
not the same way.
Either way, it'll all be fine. I think you're.
Yeah, I know.
You're yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna have a fun time. 23rd, we're gonna be having that show. We're gonna talk about all the external events, including that one. And we'll be talking about all of them, and without all the hyperbole. We're just gonna say what's going on and what's happening. That's all there is to it. I try not to add commentary, so that's the reason why I'm doing it now, so I don't do it then.
I just have to say this. I have to say one more thing so I can tickle Samantha's ear canals.
All right. Perfect.
I don't know what that means.
All right. So tune in the 23rd. If we don't do a show, I feel like I need to do a show next week if something happens, but it probably won't. And then 23rd we'll do a show, and then 30th I'm out, and then the 6th I'm on site. So in Minneapolis. So I hope you guys are going to tune in. Definitely tune in for the 23rd show. We'll just take next week off unless something major happens and we need to come on and say something. Don't expect to see us next week, but we will see you on the 23rd. We're going to talk about the external events that are happening all around Minneapolis and St. Paul and even in Houston. So we're going to be talking about all of this.
And Lenny, once again, I will not be in Minneapolis. Unfortunately, I will not be there. In spirit, though, I'll be all over there. I'll be all over you guys. You'll look up and you'll feel my presence. Just reach out and touch it.
You're going to need a wet wipe.
Don't it make you mad?
Don't it make you mad? It make me mad.
Yes.
Yes. So all that being said, we will see you in a couple of weeks. Just relax and take it all in. And we will see you in a couple of weeks. And tomorrow, before we tune out, because I got 1 minute to say this. Tomorrow is the 35th anniversary of Love Sexy. So I'm not going to do anything special on the radio station, but I am going to be totally doing crazy things to the radio station tomorrow. So it's going to sound totally different because I'm dumping all of the songs into one folder and letting it just pick from everything. So hopefully you're going to hear some songs you haven't heard in a long time. And I'm going to upload a bunch of new ones as well. So tomorrow should be very, very cool. We will be releasing the album chat for Love Sexy tomorrow. We have an album chat. It's an older one. It will be updated eventually once Dwayne Tudor's book comes out. But get ready. The 35th anniversary of Love Sexy tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyways, we will talk to you guys later. I hope you had a amazing time, and we'll see you. Jeff Paige, you got anything finally you want to say?
No, I just I'll see you guys a different time. And but this has been an awesome show. Loved it, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, welcome back, man.
And yes, you are correct. If I disappear for a period of time, I'm probably on some sort of studio project. That's actually correct.
Samantha asked, do I have the live country version of the one you want to see from the 777 show rotation? I don't have that. I've played it before, but it's not in rotation. Want me to put it in rotation? I'll put it in rotation. I got the whole 777 show. I just got to break it out of that. But we got plenty of concerts over here. All right. Good night, everybody. Download that Funked Up app. Become a member. Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Funkatopia. All you the top 3 levels of Patreon supporters, your gifts are already out. Well, minus the ones that I've got to redo here, but Patreon supporters, you should be getting your gifts shortly, and which is very, very cool. And yes, support us. Venmo @Funkatopia, Cash App $Funkatopia, and on Patreon, patreon.com/Funkatopia, because that Funked Up app with those amazing radio stations is ASCAP licensed. And we need your help. We need your support. We want to keep it on the air. If you like listening to it, support it, please. Support it, please. Good night, everyone. Jeff Paige, welcome back. Good night. See ya. See ya. Good discussion, y'all.